Welcome to our Jackson Home Front Porch Discussion Without the Front Porch. Last podcast, you had the pleasure of listening to Carrie Phillips from Community Cafe. Plus, you heard a couple of songs by the band called Flying Colors. And they're back for this podcast. And they are back as our main guests. And with me on the mic always is my partner in mic. That's not redundant at all, is it? Mr. Luke Pruitt. How you doing, Luke?
Hey, Jim. I'm doing great. So glad Flying Colors are here with us.
Well, we got a start-off question for the Flying Colors here. How did the band form? I mean, I read that you went to school together. So how did you meet?
When did we meet?
Jay and I met
in elementary school.
Jay and I did not meet in elementary school. Jay and I are twin brothers. We met in the womb. Taylor, we met him in elementary school. And we played against him in football on the blacktop, and he would tackle us.
Oh, you have to write a song called "A Womb with a View."
Oh my! It wasn't much of one, I bet. I really don't remember. But
this is like dark,
warm, wet.
Some only one other person in there, you know. No, I'm sorry.
I hope your mom listens to this.
We started in, I guess it was freshman year of high school. Jay and I playing with Taylor, and we were a three-piece for opera, basically all the way through high school, where we just kind of did power trio stuff. We'd all been listening to a lot of Rush for a long time, and so we basically tried to do everything we could to sound like that.
Try to do everything we could to make girls not like our music.
Yeah.
So how did that develop into kind of what has become the current three-person band?
I think a lot of what Flying Colors tries to be live now. I mean, we definitely are still a trio, and we kind of do the groundwork in the studio to try and get songs. Try and get songs like pretty much finished as us do, and we'll layer over instruments and stuff. But I think a lot of what Flying Colors is based around the live sound that we have been cultivating especially over these 4 years of college, with a whole lot of other folks. And like honestly, Flying Colors probably wouldn't still be possible or going. I mean, we definitely wouldn't be what we are now without all of the added influence of so many other great musicians who have been a part of the Flying Colors lifestyle.
Yeah. Rob and Jay are two of the best folks I've seen at building community. They're kind of natural people at doing that. Speak to being brothers and partnering in the creative process. What's advantageous to that, and can it be hard at all?
I think that no, I don't think that it's hard. I think that it's pretty easy. Jay and I both, I mean, when we write songs or things like that, then in the creative process, it's usually just very much like I will write a song and it'll basically be finished. And then both of us work together to sort of like make the live sound good. You just sort of like I sort of do all of the bare bones for a song, or Jay will do all the bare bones for a song, and then we'll just help each other like fill in the cracks, and that has been pretty easy. And I think that it's really, I don't know, it's good to make music with your brother because you're never going to not be brothers, so you might as well be in a band together because then you probably won't break up.
Now, I saw a write-up of your band that a lot of your lyrical content comes from sources like Greek mythology and writers like Ernest Hemingway and Douglas Adams. What other inspirations go into the lyrics of your songs and the music, basically?
Well, Taylor would be a great person to talk to about this, and I know he's not here, so we'll try to speak for him.
Taylor writes a good portion of the lyrics. Most of the lyrics definitely come from just the pages and pages of poetry that Taylor writes and gives to us, and we kind of sort through it and decide what all we can use.
So he's kind of like your Phil Collins, the drummer, and he's a songwriter
Definitely
in the same right.
Definitely our Neil Peart. But a lot of what we do after that, after we get the lyrics from him, is we take them and try and build songs around them. But generally, I think, especially recently, the themes that have been coming out of our music, whether intentionally or unintentionally, have just been a lot about isolation and sort of about living in your own head and trying to overcome the obstacle of living in your own head.
And a lot more of those lyrics come from personal experience rather than literature or movies or things like that, or like where we have drawn most of our inspiration in the past. Like I think most of our new songs are pretty experiential.
Yeah, pretty straightforward.
Is that an intentional shift? Do you find as you're growing older?
I don't know if it's something that we said, oh, let's do this now, but it's definitely just what has been feeling right recently, and that's why there's a whole lot of astronaut or spaceman imagery, and because a lot of that, a lot of the idea, like I don't know if you watched Gravity, but a lot of that movie is just about you're out in this vast expanse of nothing, and you're just in your own head, basically. So.
When she has the vision of Clooney, were you really excited?
Oh man, I freaked out.
Yeah, that would have been great. Take us through your discography. What music is available out there that can be picked up of yours?
Lots of music is available. I don't know. Lots of music is recommended.
Yeah, yeah.
So what would you recommend, and what is available?
Well, no. I take that back. I shouldn't even say that because I am proud of the things that we've
absolutely.
done. We immediately after graduating high school, then we recorded an album of all the songs we've been writing in high school called "Music from a Farther Room," and that is for free on the internet somewhere. I think it's on our Noise Trade or something. Oh, actually, it's on our Bandcamp. Our Bandcamp page is where most of our stuff is available. A lot of it for free. And so, yeah, you can find that Flying Colors Bandcamp. But then after that was maybe 2011 or
2011. 2011 was when it was finished.
Yeah, 2011 is when it came out. And then we recorded our like full length album 2 years later in 2013. And that was kind of a really big deal for us just because it had been songs that we'd just been working on forever. And so we were really excited to get them out. And that turned out to be a really great thing. But then we've just recently we've put out a 3-song EP and then a single to go along with it. I think it was about a few months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, or something like that. And that is also for free. So most of the stuff is for free, and highly recommended.
What Jay, you spoke earlier about the community of Flying Colors. Who have been kind of some of the folks who have been huge proponents of y'all along the way?
This is scary, just in case I miss somebody. But definitely Austin Gray, Jackson native. Another guy named Austin Gray, also Jackson native. Chase Teckington, Zach Clemens, Brett Ratliff, Quinn Redmond, Ben Wright. My brother Thomas has been so much help. Taylor's brother Chris has been so much help. Man, I can't even think of it.
I'll cut you off so you don't have to keep going. Then you can blame it on the cutoff. What is it about music that breeds a communal spirit, and do you see that attainable as you move forward? Does that make sense? Like, you've been in an intensively communal time in college, but as you grow older, I always joke that 27 is when the currency shifts from friendship to money. Mm-hmm. So how have you seen examples of folks who have been able to defy that, and are there hopes that you can do it? I often joke that y'all's group of friends have defied father time. So how does music lend itself to that?
I think as much as it feels weird to talk about this or to admit this, I think music is inherently a very emotional thing. And whether or not you're playing it or watching it, like the emotional investment that you have in it is something that can be very, I don't know, it can really bring people together if they're not, if they're open-minded to that. I think that can breed really strong community in that way. And it's especially for us, I mean, over our last couple years at Union, getting to play shows on the Barefoot stage and just standing on stage with 13 people, just everybody singing the same thing is just so, I don't know, there's something really emotionally gripping about that. So
yeah, and not to mention it sort of just puts you all on the same team, whether you like it or not.
Yeah. And that's something that I think has been really important to Rob and I in the way that we've interacted musically with other people.
Now, everybody hears stories when they're high school and they're college of guys getting together and form a band, and they all have the picture in their heads of getting up on stage and making money. But a lot of kids, when they realize the hard work it takes to not only write the songs and get the music down, but to work on your performance and maintain. Tell some of our listeners out there who may have their own band or have friends that are dreaming about putting a band together about what hard work it is beyond just the performing on the stage.
Number one thing, I just think that if you want to be in a band, do it. Be in a band. That was one thing that I also think that Rob and I tried to do at Union, especially. We were trying to say, like, everybody who wants to play music, like, just like do that. Like, and we wanted to create outlets for people to play music. And that was definitely not just us. We didn't lead that. But a lot of people who we were involved with tried to help that happen. So I think that's really important, just like to go ahead and just, and put in the work either to write songs or just to play songs that you like with other people. But it is hard, definitely, to get things working, and to deal with venues, honestly, has been the hardest thing, or to deal with, or really it's the external things that I think have been difficult for us much more than the internal things. So it is, I mean, it isn't just easy, but you're in a band. That's not bad.
It's fun. What have been some of the highlights for y'all, and what's the future of Flying Colors?
Highlights. Playing that sort of farewell concert at Barefoots was definitely my favorite concert we ever played.
So much fun.
It was just never. The energy never lessened. It only grew as the entire.
All four bands. I mean, everybody was friends, and Austin got engaged on stage. That was cool.
That was just a crazy, crazy night, and I will never forget it. And then I know
that one rando high school kid crowd surfing. That was awesome.
Oh yeah, I never seen that guy before. There was one other show that was really a highlight too. I'm trying to remember what it was. Oh, it was our first show. It was our first show not at school, like in high school. It was called Narthex, and there were all these. And there were all these
there's a bunch of metal bands,
and then us, and that was back when we were we were just very heady and not really in your face, and so it was a really great contrast, because I mean, this just absolutely disgusting this screamo band had played, and then we played right after them and opened up with a song that was like just piano and
like neoclassical.
Yeah, it was, and so we really got a lot of people's attention that way, and that I remember that being so fun, that being like, wow, people actually do care about this stuff.
Well, you guys are in good company. That reminds me of a story that Weird Al Yankovic went through. Back in the punk era in the mid 80s, he did his comedy parody songs right after a punk band and got spit on. So, you got to go through a little bit of hell to get to heaven, in my opinion. But before we get another song from you guys, I got a off-the-wall question for you. If you could resurrect one famous musician that has passed on to play a gig with, who would it be and why?
Can we not resurrect, but just like make Bob Dylan younger?
Wow.
or Neil Young?
Neil Young can still play.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know.
Why is Bob still touring? What's going on
know.
with that? It is
He's
bad.
got a crunchy voice.
Yeah, it's gotten real crunchy.
Which era of Dylan would you want to play with?
Probably Blood on the Tracks era.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that record is awesome. I was gonna say like it's hard to not say John Lennon. I mean, that's what everybody would say, but like who could be better than John Lennon?
The consummate performer.
What no, of course it would be Freddie Mercury. I forgot about that. Oh yeah, legend.
What about? Well, I don't know. Like, would you want to play a gig with Freddie Mercury?
Yeah, he'd be so weird. It'd be fun.
Yeah.
So you've gotten to work on a really neat project recently.
Yeah.
Speak a little bit to that.
There is an arts collaborative, a really new one on the internet right now called We're Making It, and there are lots of different art mediums being represented and lots of different art styles being represented on that. But we got the opportunity to write and record a song for it, and so we did. But Jay did a good deal more work on that than I did, so he should talk about this.
Okay. It was the whole project, the whole arts project was over the course of 5 days, and it was curated by Julie Hembry, who is she lives in Nashville, but she's about to move to New York to do photography, and then Trey Wise, who teaches here in Jackson at JCM. They got together to form this massive arts collaborative with various media. Grammar. And so what we did, we had been talking about this side project for a long time that Flying Colors would do about putting together a more new age sound project, because we all three of us have just been huge fans of Enya. I mean, I have all of her records.
Yeah,
yeah. Shepherd Moons is in the disc drive of the car right now.
Shepherd Moons is awesome. And so Enya and Secret Garden and other
George Winston.
Yeah, George Winston for sure. And so we wanted to kind of tap into that concept of ambient music. So less of the drone ambient music and more of the magical fairy-like ambient music that we've all just been really interested in. And so we had an idea that we were going to call it In Your Face. And then for some reason that never got changed. So we're still called In Your Face. But for this project, Taylor had written a poem for the theme Finally Together. He had written just a really beautiful poem for it, and I just put it to music. So yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about that other than just to hear it.
Very cool. And we've got a song from there that'll be heard, and y'all will be at the tavern Wednesday night.
Yes.
Okay.
It's gonna be rock and roll.
Very cool. So go to the downtown tavern, hear the Flying Colors, and here's a song from the project. Thanks for being with us, Jay and Rob.
You're welcome. Thanks for having us.
This was our Jackson Home.
And this is Flying Colors performing Canaveral in the Morning.
I tiptoed down the stairs on the right side of darkness, past your closed door, past puddles, and out onto the gray line. The sky was a canvas tent, thin and luminous, the last of deep sequined light. Only the copper slipstream of gliding stars on gilded tracks. The earth is a jealous lover and saves her ace of spades for last. My astronaut hands could never close on her corners or heavy creases. Never knew the connection whose condition is a single blade of grass. I was only ever Cain, striking out in blind fear, against gifts of earth I could not understand and had not bargained for, offering what I assumed to be real, and finding it was not so, and finding fear. But now I am going, and for the first time, I feel my soul is heavy with the dust of this world. And while I once saw the sky as bezamed